Hello, my name is Krzysztof Pijarski, and it will be my pleasure to present to you the Visual Narratives Laboratory and talk a little bit more about our current endeavors and future plans. The Visual Narratives Laboratory was established 3 years ago at the Film School in Łódź to explore the area of the current forms of visual narration and develop artistically convincing solutions at the intersection of traditional film, theater, television, and photography, as well as the modern digital tools of visual communication, while taking into account the needs and expectations of the contemporary audience. We divided the lab into 6 studios. The VR/AR studio that deals with XR media, immersive media. The stereoscopic 3D studio, which is focused on exploring the artistic potential of stereoscopy, the film essay studio, the life experience studio that is now all but defunct because its role has been taken over by the different other studios, the interactive narrative studio, and the perception and viewer research studio. What is important to note is that we emphasize horizontal relationships within the laboratory. We focus on open knowledge exchange and on collaboration and not hierarchies. Hence, when I'm writing responsible, those are the people who have the responsibility for the program of the studio and are not the directors in this sense. Here you can see some working pictures from our meetings and seminars. And I will proceed to present the current state of the respective studios and what we are facing right now and what our plans for the next year are. So the VR/AR studio, which is the largest studio in the lab, is led by Paula Borkiewicz and Jacek Nagłowski. Paula Borkiewicz, she is responsible for the research program of the studio, and Jacek, he is responsible for the production aspect. And they both lead the artistic and research development process. The studio develops interdisciplinary artistic and research projects that are selected annually by the Artistic Council. For next year, we don't plan any new competitions because we would like to finish all the projects which we have already started, and there are many of them. I will come to this in a moment. They are developed within a complete documentation, with the complete documentation of the workflow, detailing artistic, technical, and production problems and their possible solutions. So the outcome of a whole process of developing an artistic project in this studio is also a whole research packet. Yes. The creative processes are analyzed with the aim of creating a new audiovisual language with critical reflection on the issues of immersive narratives. The creative process is developed in 3 stages: 6 months for pre-production, 2 months for production, and 4 months for post-production. We already know that this is not enough. We were a little bit too optimistic while we were planning or plotting our trajectory, especially when it comes to the COVID pandemic. But this is also something I will address during this talk. At the moment, the studio has completed 2 full VR experiences, which have premiered and are traveling internationally. One is Nights by Weronika Lewandowska and Sandra Frydrysiak, a screen from which you can see on the left here, which premiered this year at Sundance. The other one is Deep Dive, which premiered at Go East by Miłosz Hermanowicz. The former is a 6th degree of freedom interactive experience. The second is a 3 degrees of freedom stereoscopic 3D cinematic VR piece. At the moment, we have 4 projects in post-production, 6 in production, and another 5 in co-production, either with other lab studios, the co-production I mean, or with external entities, which means basically co-funding of these projects. Here you have a list of the projects which we are developing at the moment. So the projects in post-production at the moment are Blast of Invisible Relations, directed by Ksawery Kaliski and Piotr Ceglarek, Dead City by Krzysztof Grudziński, Wish You Were Here by Michał Stankiewicz, and Self by Patryk Jordanowicz and Tadeusz Chudy. As you see, these are about half and half, 6 Degree of Freedom and 3 Degree of Freedom projects. But when you look at what is happening in the projects which are at this moment have finished the development state, the pre-production stage, and are going into development, Darkness by Piotr Nierobisz, Multiverse by Robert Mleczko, The Cave by Jowita Guja and Adam Żądło, A Simple Song About Death by Marta Wieczorek and Maciej Czuchryta, Pilot 9/11 by Norman Leto, Control Negative by Monika Masłoń, Enclosed Space by Hanna Umeda, and Endless by Wojciech Puś. These are all 6 Degrees of Freedom experiences, with one exception. Endless is rather a 3 Degree of Freedom stereoscopic VR piece. But you see that the studio is developing rather towards 6 Degree of Freedom interactive experiences as closer to, how should you call it, the nature of the medium. Research is a big part of the activities of each and every studio, especially the VR and AR part, because while film is a very well researched and developed medium, VR and AR, the immersive media, haven't had as much research at the moment and haven't had especially that long a tradition. So many aspects of these media as a certain visual language are still grasped rather intuitively than through experience or knowledge. And the aim of this research is to gain that knowledge that would allow us to more confidently tread in this space. So these are the main points of our research. First is the codification of the audiovisual language of XR, and research into this will lead to a publication, a digital publication that we have already started working on. During the production, we do production studies together with ethnography of the creative process. So during the accompanying the process of production of each and every interactive immersive piece that we are producing, a team of researchers, they observe the creative experiments, interview the creators, develop reports and case studies of the production processes in cooperation with the University of Łódź. We are doing this research in cooperation with the University of Łódź. Michał Pabiś is a very important person here. And we also do audience research that is focused on the psychophysiology of perception and of cognitive processes, and that occur during while cognitive and affective processes that occur while experiencing our immersive pieces. And this is research we are conducting in collaboration with the Institute of Psychology of the Polish Academy of Sciences and OPI, which is another institute. Our main partner here is Dr. Grzegorz Bochwatko. All the research we are gathering, all the data will be later available, and the data that we are working on now will lead to publications that will expand on the psychophysiological basis of immersive media. One important aspect of this year's activities of the VR studio were connected to our premieres and to presenting the VR pieces we have developed to the public. And as a part of that, we have conducted onboarding studies of Nights, the piece by Weronika Lewandowska and Sandra Frydrysiak, developing a stage design and a whole experience that would allow the audience to enter the space, the virtual space of the piece, without such a radical cut between the physical space and the virtual space. What you see here is a documentation of the stage design for this. Let me continue to the stereoscopic 3D studio. This is the first year where the studio could finally present the outcome of their work. Because why is that? Because they were to more precisely address the questions, which is to explore the undiscovered potential of the film language of stereoscopy. The team of the stereoscopic 3D studio. Here you see the main responsible person, Piotr Matysiak, who is a cinematographer. Justyna Rucińska is the producer of the piece, and Miłosz Hermanowicz is the stereographer who is responsible for the spatial aspect. And we have also a representative of the Łódź Technical University, who is leading a team of students who develop virtual stage design for this piece, and Anita Kwiatkowska, the director of the film, because what the team of the S3D studio is actually developing is an animated stop motion animation with the use of a motion control robot. The idea is that the robot gives the team a great degree of control over the construction of stereoscopic space, and hence give them much more insight into how that space works, how it influences the viewer, and how it can be developed as an artistic medium and not only a special effect. The first outcomes of the team's work are already impressive. We can't wait for the final piece to come to fruition, and because research is always a very important part of our process. What will also happen as a part of this process is the development of an interactive textbook for stereoscopic 3D that will help other artists to enter that space more freely and with more knowledge and confidence. The next studio, which has also had a really intense start this year after the ebbing of the strongest pandemic-related restrictions, is the Film Essay Studio, whose objectives are to develop a new formula of the film essay, a hybrid artistic and research form, referring on the one hand to the tradition of the new wave film essay, on the other to the contemporary videographic research, found footage practices, and internet genres such as the video essay, the web doc, interactive document. The people who are behind the studio's program are Kuba Mikurda and Stanisław Liguziński, a fantastic team. And one of the biggest successes of the team so far is the establishment of the Film Essay Seminar, which they opened after an international open call. And because of the pandemic, the seminar was to be conducted online. And the success of this open call baffled all of us. So there were nearly 200 people who wanted to participate in it. And the organizers, Kuba and Stanisław, they decided not to turn anybody down. And so they created two groups. One open group, which participates in the open discussions and the open seminars with the invited tutors. And the other group, which is a more selected group, which works on materials and has a more hands-on relationship with the tutors who advise them in their own projects. They meet during additional sessions where they have a more personal interaction and relationship. And one of the biggest successes is the lineup of the tutors who have agreed to participate in the seminar, which are Eyal Sivan, Catherine Grant, Kieron Corliss, Johan Glimon-Press, James Wilkins, Laura Mulvey, Matthias Müller, Christophe Girardet, Kevin Billy, Chloé Galibert-Lenné, Charlie Line, Mark Cousins, and Asaf Gruber. On the basis of this seminar, the team of the Film Essay Studio also plans to publish a kind of interactive textbook that would explore the medium of the film essay and delve into its intricacies. The film's essay studio also, as a part of its program, produces film essays. One film essay that has already started production is by Kuba Mikurda himself, another by Asaf Gruber, and we are about to start production of 4 film essays from the studio's open call that would allow, whose aim was to allow applicants to realize their own film essay or essay film in the studio, in dialogue with the team and with the crowd of artists and filmmakers who have gathered around this topic. We have already produced and premiered one film essay, which is It's About Time by Mika Bal. Mika Bal was our distinguished guest during the first months of the functioning of the studio and of the lab, and she took part in our first discussions about what it is, what a film essay is, and how we can understand that medium, if we can call it a medium, and how it relates to the essay as defined by Adorno and many others after him. The next studio I would like to briefly present is the Interactive Narrative Studio, which I have the pleasure to lead, together with Katarzyna Boratin. Our objectives are to develop autonomous and at the same time supplementary narrative works in the digital sphere, taking already existing projects as points of departure. So the idea is on the one hand to produce something that we could call web docs or interactive narratives, but we are also very much interested in hybrid narratives. That means we are not so much interested in producing pieces only for the screen, for the computer screen, but also for other screens, for physical space, for installation, or hybrid forms between book and screen and projection, etc., etc. We have invited two distinguished fellows to participate in this exploration of the medium of digital narratives, which are Sandra Gaudenzi from the University of Westminster and Frédéric Dubois from the Film University of Babelsberg, who is also known as a creator of interactive narratives. Among them, Atavash or Field Trip. We also invited we invited guests and collaborators. Among them, Marcha Rottevel, who has shared with us her immense knowledge and experience in crafting visual narratives out of photographs and moving images, as she develops in her docking station in Amsterdam. We have also concluded the production of two interactive pieces. One is Amazon by Tytus Szabelski, the other Makeshift by Paweł Starzec. Let me just take down the sound. These are just so you can have a look at how these pieces work. One is a documentary piece, which is an exhibition, which comes also as an exhibition and is supposed to become a book as end product, or not really, as another supplementary form of this piece. Amazon is something a little bit more extended, I would say, because it was developed as an exhibition. It's actually the PhD project of Titus. A gallery piece, and this interactive piece, which is a kind of which can be treated as a kind of tool set to create your own exhibitions. And this is something that we have also explored during the photo month in Krakow, where we performatively arranged an exhibition only out of the material that Titus amassed on this in this interactive piece. So please explore by yourself. I am really interested in what you would think about them. We have quite a few pieces in development at this very moment. Something that can be compared to the VR studio, and something that has a direct relationship with the pandemic, because we all have been impacted by that. But when we look at places like our laboratory, which are focused on audiovisual production, that was a really hard hit, in the sense that we were unable to come together, to meet physically, and hence also produce pieces. We did not stop our actions during the pandemic lockdowns, but we had to transfer everything online, which was not easy, but which also slowed down the process, the development process, especially the production process, which became much more cumbersome, and which produced a huge overhead of organizational overhead, which we had to deal with. Hence, many of the projects were also postponed or started to overlap, in their timelines. So here we have New Spirit by Laura Pawela in collaboration with Loren Dubowski, which is going to be an interactive piece about utopian communities. The School of World by Iga Łapińska and Ewa Jarosz, which is an interactive piece that will accompany a documentary film about a school in the east of Poland that was built during the socialist times as a kind of grassroots initiative. Overgrowth, which is a piece realized by a young team of creators and devoted to the post-mining landscape. Refugee Atlas by Paweł Muścicki, which is a piece inspired by Abi Warburg's Atlas Mnemosyne, and which looks into the topic of refugees, the movement of bodies across Europe over the ages, but directly addressing the current refugee crisis, which we are still dealing with or not dealing with, depending on the context. The next project, Crisis of the 20th Century, is a new project that we have accepted by Maja Starakiewicz and Marcin Leczak, which is going to be a visual textual essay, interactive essay. To Koniec Zdarzeń by Michał Szota is an interactive chat and audiovisual experience, performative experience that Michał devised as a reaction to the pandemic, and he's still exploring the possibilities of this now platform to bring people together and confront them with each other. And the last piece that is in process right now is Sztos, which is a piece that I am realizing myself, which is also an extension or a companion piece to an exhibition and a book and printed and a smaller printed piece, and is supposed to complement it in new ways. Another project that we are actively developing in the Interactive Narrative Studio is a new proof of concept for digital publishing, which is called Publication as a Website. For this, we have been collaborating with the Technical University in Łódź, working with professors Aneta Poniszewska and Łukasz Homontek and a group of students to develop the concept that we have devised in the studio. I am really excited to see the first books appearing on this proof of concept. We are opening a publishing series right now of the Visual Narratives Laboratory. With the first two books are supposed to be republished books that we translate from paper into the digital medium and see how that, to what extent it allows us to do more, say more. What do we gain? What do we lose in that process? We are also going to look at it from a research perspective. In addition to that, and in collaboration with the Technical University, I'm conducting a seminar right now on digital exhibitions, and we're going to explore the possibilities of digitally presenting art, and also to be used internally by the film school in the future. That is a big topic. And at the same time, we are working on developing a tool set for microstreaming services so that individual producers of audiovisual content can build their own streaming services without being dependent on the huge platforms. Yes, also in terms of sharing income and the possibility of customization. Oh, so this is a short presentation of how our first design for the book looks like. It also allows for annotating the content with the use of an open project that is called Hypothesis. We are right now exploring the possibilities of it. Needless to say, this project is responsive, so it can be read on tablets and phones, and it's a totally different experience for each of these platforms. This is only one of the projects of the graphic designs or user experience designs for that idea of a book. We are going to produce at least 3 so that we can compare and look at how a proper book in the digital sphere might look or might work or might feel like. And then the last studio that I would like to talk about a little bit is the Perception Audience Research Studio, whose objectives are as follows: the establishment of transdisciplinary research teams studying the neurocognitive basis of image perception, cooperation with researchers from other universities or research centers. The idea was from the beginning that the research should link all the labs together, and it is working to some extent, of course. It is really hard in the sense that each of the studios has a very intense program, and the idea that we would all get together on a regular basis and exchange experiences and ideas and help each other, it is happening, but not on to such a degree or with such an intensity that we had hoped. But this is also, I think, I am convinced, pandemic related, in the sense that we were just, dispersed during a long time, and now everything is coming together again. So the possibility of a more intense exchange between the studios, which was from the very beginning very important to us, is on the table again, and we are trying to achieve that with mixed results. The responsible for this studio is Magda Sobocińska, who has her own research project about which I'm going to say a couple of words. So these are the research projects that are happening right now in the studio, in addition, of course, to the research projects that are directly linked to our activities in the studio, which means the big research on XR, on immersive media, led by Pola Borkiewicz in collaboration with the Institute of Psychology of the Polish Academy of Sciences, OPI, and the University of Łódź. The research into interactive media that is led by Ewa Drygalska in collaboration with the Interactive Narrative Studio. And here we have 4 projects that are happening right now. The first is the importance of the internet in the marketing activities of creative sector entities and in the decision-making processes of cultural recipients by Magdalena Sobocińska. The next project is the aesthetic and extra aesthetic components influencing the reception of Polish contemporary art by Dagna Kidoń, which is her PhD project. Worldview and the perception of art, which is conducted by a group from the University of Łódź, Tomasz Ferenc and Kamila Biały, in collaboration with Dagna Kidoń. And a study of textbooks in art education regarding the relationship between image, text, and understanding by Anna Zarychta, which is also using oculocentric research. I knew I forgot something. The research studio is equipped with 2 desktop and 2 mobile eye trackers with face and biometric scanning devices, reading devices, and it is with the help of these devices that some of the research, especially the one on perception, is being conducted. And the whole project is funded through a generous grant from the Ministry of Education and Science. That allowed us to put into place this laboratory in the first place. Thank you very much for listening, and please visit us at vnLab.org, where we publish our current activities and share our plans. Thank you.